So welcome back to day 2. We're really getting into the work now, and the second aspect I'd like to talk about. So the second aspect of the nice guy is that he's ambiguous. We don't quite know who he is. He's like always changing to suit the circumstances, because really he's a pleaser. And the way we get around this, or we move away from this tendency, is to have very clear intention and goals. And you'll recognise this straight away. When you meet someone who's very clear and certain about where they are, who they are, where they're going, what's important to them, that conveys so strongly. And where we're sort of soft and we don't really know, and we're very influenced by other people, that again is conveyed so strongly. So I've got 3 exercises today, super powerful, which are going to help you get some leverage on this and start really working the muscles of having clarity about intention, about who we are. The first thing I'd like to, the first exercise is around our purpose for being on the planet. And the exercise I'd like you to do, there's a space in the form for this, is to think forward in our lives to the point where we're looking back on our lives. Imagine after a long, rewarding, indescribable life of contribution and living on our purpose, looking back and seeing the impact that we've made on the people around us, on our family, on our friends, on our colleagues. And the question really is to put ourselves forward in our imagination to that point, many years in the future, looking back at our lives, about what was it all about? Why did I even come into this world? What was the purpose of that? And I'd like to invite you to really think about the meaning, why we're here on this planet. What is our reason for being here? And what is our mission, the mission that we have found ourselves living here on this planet? And where we put ourselves forward in our imagination, we can then connect with that thing that is really going to have made it all worthwhile. That's what I'd like to really think about in this exercise. And there's a space in the box to really write something there, and write as much or little that really resonates for you, that feels true for you in your experience, about what is your purpose of being here. That's the first exercise. The next exercise is around values, and I've got a short exercise to do. There's a much longer version of this exercise which we can talk about in another video, but in a very short version of this exercise, the key thing here about values is that when we find our highest values, is that we feel naturally inspired and motivated towards them. And any feeling that we might have with our goals, that things are hard work, that we're not quite flowing with things, like it feels like an uphill battle, that is an almost inevitable sign that we haven't yet found the highest values, the things that really light us up, and where we won't any longer need any external motivation to make us do things. We'll naturally want to do them. That's what we're looking for here. So my question to you is, if you find yourself with some time on your hands, that maybe you're waiting for a train and you're running a bit early, or you're meeting some friends and you've got half an hour on your hands, you're in the town centre, let's say, wherever it is you live, and you decide to spend half an hour in the bookshop. And the bookshop's got a whole range of subjects. But what would be the 3 areas that you would find yourself drawn towards? What would you want to use that time just to explore a bit more? Maybe it's sports, maybe it's spirituality, friendship, it could be the environment, it could be cooking. Whatever those things are, what are those 3 areas? Again, if you can imagine yourself walking through the door into that bookshop, you've got a bit of time on your hands and you're just going to browse, have a look, try and learn something new. What would be those 3 areas that you would want to explore during that time? As I say, there's a longer version of this exercise, but for today, for the challenge, this is good enough for what we're looking for. And don't overthink this either. Just allow yourself to be guided by what comes to your mind. There'll be 3 things that come to your mind, and those are the things that I'd like to record in the box in the form. So this is the second exercise, all about values, understanding what really matters to us, the things that we're intrinsically interested in. Because what we're going to come on and look at is our goals, because the more our goals reflect our values, the more naturally we're going to want to move towards them. So these are things to be really worth looking at, because our biggest inspirations, the more we can make those the center point of our life, the more on fire we're going to feel, the more grounded, connected with those things we're going to be. So that's the exercise on values. And the final exercise that you'll see in the form is around identity. Identity. This can be such a strong force for good, and also something that can hold us back. And again, we're going to do a quick version of a longer exercise that we sometimes do. And what I'd like you to do is to explore your top identities, the things that you consider to be who you are. Who you are. So it could be about being a parent. It could be the occupation that you have. It could be to do with your physical state, being an athlete, for example. It could be to be loyal, to be a loyal friend. It could be something to do with a sports team that you support. And the question here is, with the top 5, we're going to just look at 5. There's a much longer version of this exercise, but we're looking at the top 5 that really come to us. And the thing that I'd like to invite you to consider and to be really honest with yourself is to what extent those identities are empowering or disempowering. So I'll give you an example. I've had identities in the past which I would consider to be quite disempowering, like, for example, very strong connection with a certain sports team, which I felt so strongly about and really felt that was who I was, but actually it gave me lots of conflict and made me feel connected to people in a way that didn't always serve me, because just because people support a certain sports team doesn't mean that they're really your people. And equally, there could be some people on the opposition where you're not feeling so connected with them, shall we say, but that's not to say they're not great people as well. So that would be my example of a more disempowering one. And an empowering one might be around my fitness, because I really consider myself to be fit and strong, and there have been times where my body hasn't reflected that. I haven't been doing the work, I haven't been backing that up in reality, and then there's been a gap from where my identity says I should be and where my reality actually is. So I'd like you to really explore from these identities which are empowering or disempowering, and there's a scale on there to have a look at. So this is all exercises to help us get on purpose. The I for ninja is all about intention. Intention, being clear about who we are, what we're about, and where we're going. So when we put our purpose, our values, and our identities together, this really gives us some leverage to then start understanding what's working for us and where we need to get even clearer in terms of stepping into the ninja and away from the nice guy. Okay, take care.